The obsidian pair. Abridged version. Zana Hayes's curls sat on a cracked corner of Port Celeste's east side, a small, modest salon where the local women could afford to reclaim a little dignity. The bell above the door jingled, and Talia Talai Owens stepped inside. At 51, Talai carried the weight of loss, having been widowed for 3 years, but a nervous, youthful anticipation sparkled in her eyes. "I have a date," Talai confessed to Zana, her 29-year-old best friend and stylist. Zana, with her vibrant purple hair, whistled. "A date? With whom?" "His name is Darian Kincaid. He's 31. A bartender at the Azure Bar near the marina. He sent me a free cocktail and said he hadn't seen a woman with my elegance in his place in a long time." Zana's fingers stilled in Tally's dark hair. A free drink and a compliment from a young bartender. "Are you sure he doesn't want something, Talai?" "Men his age, I know the difference between a schoolboy and a man," Talai cut in, defensive pride in her voice. "Of course he wants something, but it's mutual. 3 years of silence is too long, Zana. He makes me feel seen." Zana sighed. "I am not judging, friend. Just be careful. The Azure Bar draws a wilder crowd." "Where are you meeting?" "We're having dinner there after his shift." "A public place," Talai replied, knowing Zana was easing her own worry. An hour later, Zana had worked magic, crafting an elegant style that took a decade off Talai. "You look stunning." Darian won't be able to resist. "Thank you. For the hair and for not judging," Talai said, her eyes shining with gratitude. Talai felt a jolt of nervous excitement when she entered the Azure Bar that evening. Darian, tall, trim, and radiating confidence, spotted her and his genuine smile lit up his face. "You look incredible," he said, taking her hand. After his shift, they talked for hours. Darian, who had moved to Port Celeste from Chicago, explained that bartending was temporary. He was saving to open his own specialized workshop. "What do you make?" Talai asked. "Specialty items," he replied, a strange mix of ambition and evasion in his eyes. "For adults with unique hobbies. I specialize in custom-made products." Very specific. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind. Talai spent every spare minute with Darian. He was patient and attentive, never pushing her boundaries. He finally showed her his workshop in the industrial area, a cluttered space filled with metal parts and leather goods. "These are specialty items," he explained, holding up a beautifully crafted leather wristband. "BDSM accessories, mostly. Safety and comfort come first for me. I put my heart into every piece." Talai was touched by his earnestness and the care he took. This unexpected facet of his life, framed by his intense focus on quality, only deepened her trust. One evening, Darian invited her to a get-together on a yacht owned by his friend, Javier Navarro. "I just finished a new design," he confessed. "They're a pair of special gadgets. Very elegant and intense. Maybe we could try them on the yacht. There are private cabins." Talai felt a thrill of apprehension, but also intense curiosity. "What kind of gadgets?" "It's a surprise," he smiled. "But I think you'll like them. They're based on an old design, but completely rethought for pleasure." "I will be extremely careful. I promise." Talai, secure in his respect and patience, agreed. "Okay. I'm willing to try it." On Saturday evening, Talai and Darian arrived at the yacht. The guests, young, vibrant, and slightly eccentric, greeted them with casual curiosity. Keisha, an old friend of Darian's, mentioned that she was his best tester. The casual mention of his business in this circle made Talai feel a mix of flattery and vulnerability. As the yacht pulled out into the bay, Darian took Talai downstairs to a private cabin. He pulled out a small black box, inside which lay 2 polished metal objects shaped like segmented pears. These are modified Inquisitor's pears, he explained. They were instruments of pain, but I've rethought the concept. They expand very slowly, subtly, and with total control. The regulator lets you adjust the opening to the millimeter. They're designed for pleasure. Taileye examined the cool metal. And are they safe? Absolutely, he said with confidence. I've tested them repeatedly. The mechanism is completely reliable. Their lovemaking was passionate and tender. When Taileye was ready, Darian gently lubricated the first pair, the vaginal device, and inserted it. The sensation was foreign, but Taileye nodded, urging him to continue. He began to turn the regulator slowly. I can feel it. A strange kind of fullness, Taileye gasped, a rush of intense, new pleasure washing over her. Darian then inserted the second, oral pair. Tally's mouth gradually filled as the device expanded, but she could breathe and felt no pain, only a strange, exquisite vulnerability. As Taileye neared orgasm, Darian reached for the vaginal pair regulator and offered one last turn. Shall we increase it a little? Taileye, lost in the sensations, nodded. He twisted the regulator, and suddenly, everything changed. Taileye felt a sharp, metallic grind and a searing, intense pain. Shit! Darian exclaimed, frantically trying to reverse the mechanism. Something's broken. Panic seized Taileye. The device was expanding without control, tearing her delicate tissues. She tried to scream, but the oral pair sealed her mouth. Blood began to seep out. Darian's face went pale with terror. I can't get them out. I have to get help, he repeated, his hands trembling. But instead of running upstairs to his friends, he stumbled out of the cabin, eyes wide with fear, and fled the yacht in a small lifeboat. He left Taileye to die. Detective Marcus Rhodes and Detective Lena Perez found Tally's body at dawn. The metal devices, still locked inside her, were the key to the horror. Forensics confirmed the injuries were caused by the uncontrolled expansion of the metal objects. They look like some kind of modified sex toys, Perez noted, examining the evidence bags. Did they explode? No, the medical examiner replied. It appears the locking mechanism failed, and they continued to expand unchecked. She died of shock and massive blood loss. The yacht owner, Javier Navarro, confirmed that Darian Kincaid was Tally's companion and that he had vanished, along with a lifeboat. The detectives tracked Darian to his workshop in the industrial area, where they found him sitting at his workbench, frantically disassembling a similar device. It was an accident, Darian whispered when he was arrested. I didn't want her to die. I tried to help, but I panicked. There was blood everywhere. I got scared and ran. In the interrogation room, Darian admitted he had found a design defect after his escape. In some of them, the locking mechanism was not calibrated correctly. At a certain pressure, it could fail. I just didn't check carefully enough. The prosecutor charged Darian with manslaughter and leaving a person in danger. At the trial, Darian's attorney presented evidence of the design defect, arguing the death was a tragic accident. However, he did not dispute Darian's flight from the scene. The judge delivered the sentence. Darian Kincaid, the court recognizes that Talia Owens's death was not the result of a deliberate act. However, your negligence in creating potentially dangerous devices, and more importantly, your decision to flee, leaving a dying woman unassisted, warrants serious punishment. I sentence you to 8 years in state prison. As he was led away, Darian briefly met Zana's gaze in the front row. Her eyes held no hatred, only profound exhaustion and pain. Detective Perez sat down next to Zana after the hearing. Do you think the verdict is fair? Zana shook her head. Fair? Nothing will bring Taileye back. I know it was an accident. He never meant to hurt her. His real crime was cowardice. She paused, adjusting her black morning hair. You know what the most ironic thing is? Taileye was always afraid of growing old alone. She got the love and an early death.